Good morning, students. Before starting exercise 2.2, I want to tell you your syllabus for the pre-midterm. In your pre-midterm, chapter 1 number system, chapter 2 polynomials, and chapter 15 that is probability, from question number 1 to question number 7 will come in your pre-midterm exam. Okay, students. So get ready with all the exercises. So here today I am going to start exercise 2.2. So here in the question number 1, what is written? Read out, find the value of the polynomial 5x minus 4x square plus 3 at x is equal to 2. X is equal to 0. Sorry. 5x minus 4x square plus 3 at x is equal to 0. That means you have to put the value of x is equal to 0 in the quadratic polynomial given to you and find the answer. Find the value of the polynomials. So let's start. If x is equal to 0, then 5x minus 4x square plus 3 will become, putting the value of x is equal to 0 in this quadratic polynomial, I have solved it. So 5 into 0 minus 4 into 0 square plus 3. Now 5 into 0 is 0, minus 4 into 0 is 0, plus 3. So here the 3 is the answer. Next question, question number 2. Find the P0 or P1 and P2 for each of the following polynomials. That means here I am solving the first question of question number 2. Here you have to put the value of y as 0 and put the value of y as 1 and put the value of y as 2 and find the answer. So let's start by putting the value of y as 0. So putting y is equal to 0 in the y square minus y plus 1, we get 0 square minus 0 plus 1, that is equal to 1. So now again putting the value of y is equal to 1 in this y square minus y plus 1, we get 1 whole square minus 1 plus 1. 1 whole square is 1 and 1 minus 1 is 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So again putting the value of y is equal to 2 in the quadratic polynomial y square minus y plus 1, we get 2 whole square minus 2 plus 1. 2 2s are 4 minus 2 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is 5 and 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. So 3 is the answer. Now again question number 3, you have to verify whether the following are zeros of the polynomial indicated against them. What is the zero of the polynomial? If the value of x given to you and you have replaced the x by that value, and if the answer comes is equal to 0, that means the value I have put in the quadratic polynomial is the zero of the polynomial. Okay, students. So today I am solving the sixth question of question number 3. So here polynomial px is given is equal to lx plus m and x is equal to minus m by l. So putting the value of x is equal to minus m by l in this linear polynomial, let us see what its value comes. If its value comes 0, that means this is the zero of the polynomial, and if it does not come, that means it is not the zero of the polynomial. So let's start the sixth question of question number 3. So px is equal to lx plus m and x is equal to minus m by l. So putting the value of x is equal to m minus m by l in this linear polynomial, let's see what happens. So l into minus m by l. So replacing x by minus m by l, we get minus l into minus m by l plus m. So opening the bracket, l into minus m by l, and l will cut and it becomes minus m. So minus m plus m is equal to 0. That means the value comes 0. That means minus m by l is the zero of this linear polynomial lx plus m. Okay, students. Hope you have understood. Next, question number 4. Find the zero of the polynomial in each of the following cases. Here the linear polynomial is given, the expression is x plus 5. So if the x plus 5 is 0, for what value of x? You have to find out. For what value of x the linear polynomial will become 0. So how you will find out? You have to write like this. Here I am solving the first question of question number 4. That is, polynomial x is x plus 5. So polynomial x will become 0 for what value? So you have to assume that x plus 5 is equal to 0. Okay. So x is equal to, now bring this 5 to your right hand side and it will become minus 5. So for the value of x minus 5, this linear polynomial will become 0. That means minus 5 is the 0 of this polynomial. Okay students, got it? Now change to exercise 2.5. Before starting exercise 2.5, you have to memorize these 5 algebraic identities or algebraic formulas. X plus y whole square is equal to x square plus 2xy plus y square. X minus y whole square is equal to x square minus 2xy plus y square. X square minus y square is equal to x plus y into x minus y. X plus a into x plus b is equal to x square plus a plus bx plus ab. Okay students, x plus y plus z whole square is equal to x square plus y square plus z square plus 2xy plus 2yz plus 2zx. These 5 identities you have to memorize. Without this you can't solve exercise 2.5. So first question of exercise 2.5 is, use suitable identities to find the following products. Today I am solving the first question of this question number 1, that is x plus 4 into x plus 10. So you have to find which identity is suitable for solving this products. So here are the identities. So from identity 4, x plus a into x plus b, because here 4 and 10 are different numbers. So I have used identity 4. So x plus a into x plus b is equal to x square plus a plus b into x plus ab. So putting the value of here a is 4 and b is 10. So putting the value of a and b in this expression, we get x square plus a plus b, that means 4 plus 10 into x plus 4 into 10, that means a into b. So after solving this, we get x square plus 4 plus 10 is equal to 14 into x is 14x and 4 into 10 is equal to 40. So x square plus 14x plus 40 is the answer. Now next question. Now question number 4. Let's start. Y square plus 3 by 2 into y square minus 3 by 2. Here the variable are same and also the 3 by 2 the constants are also same in the both the brackets. So find out which identity will suitable for solving the product x square minus y square. That means x plus y and x minus y is suitable for this question. So here I have written like this: y square plus 3 by 2, y square minus 3 by 2. From the identity 3, we get x square minus y square is equal to x plus y and x minus y. So x plus y and x minus y, this expression is in the form of this. So you have to bring it like this. So here your x is equal to y square. Here your x is equal to y square and y is equal to 3 by 2. Okay students, now bring it to in this form. You will get y square whole square minus 3 by 2 whole square. X square minus y square. Bring this expression in this format. So what you will get? You will get y square whole square minus 3 by 2 whole square. So y square whole square is y4 and minus 3 3 is a 9 and 2 2 is a 4. So 9 by 4. y4 minus 9 by 4 is the answer. Next. Now second question. is evaluate the following products without multiplying directly. You have to put this expression in the algebraic identities. Suppose 103 into 107. You have to break this. You have to expand this 103 or 107 to put them in the algebraic identities. We know that x plus a into x plus b. This is the fourth identity of the algebraic formulas. So x plus a into x plus b is equal to x square plus a plus b into x plus a into b. So here if I break 103 into 100 plus 3 and 107 into 100 plus 7 and put the value of here 100 is x and 3 is a. Here 100 is x and 7 is b. So like this, put this 100 plus 3 and 100 plus 7 in this formula. We will get 100 whole square plus a plus b, that means 3 plus 7 into x means 100 plus a into b. That will become 100 into 100 will become 10,000 and 7 plus 3 is equal to 10. 10 into 100 will become 1000 and 7 into 3 is 21. So like this you have to simplify this. So 10,000 plus 1000 plus 21 is equal to 11,021. This is the answer. So next question. So third question of question number 2 is 104 into 96. Here if I expand this into 100 plus 4 then 96 will become 90 plus 6. That will not suitable. That is not suitable to any identity of the 5 identities given. So what shall I do? If I write 100 plus 4 as 104 and 96 as 100 minus 4, then it will falls in some identity. So write down 100 plus 4 as 100 plus 4 and 96 as 100 minus 4. Here x plus y and x minus y is the third identity. So x plus y into x minus y is equal to x square minus y square. So here x is 100 and y is 4. Write down x is 100 and y is 4. Now putting the value of x and y in this expression, we will get 100 square minus 4 square. That means x square minus y square. So 100 square minus 4 square is equal to 10,000 minus 16. So 10,000 minus 16 is equal to, students. So 10,000 minus 16 is equal to 9,984. That is the answer. So next, factorize. Question number 3 is factorize the following using appropriate identities. So here I am solving the first question, 9x square plus 3xy plus y square. You have to factorize by using the identities only. You can't factorize by middle term break. So here you see 9x square plus 3xy plus y square. First you expand them. If I write 3x whole square plus if I break 6 into 2 into 3x, here x is 3x. So here you have to write 3x into y and plus y square. Then it falls into which identity, students? It falls into identity number 1, that is x square plus 2xy plus y square. So you have to bring this algebraic expression into this so that it is very easy to factorize, that is x plus y whole square. So now you see here x is 3x and y is y and 2xy is equal to 2 into 3x into y. Okay, students. So if x is equal to 3x, then write down 3x and in place of y you have to write y. So 3x plus y whole square is equal to 9x square plus 6xy plus y square. So from the identity you have to factorize, not by middle term break. So next, question number 4. You have to expand 3a plus minus 7b minus c. 3a minus 7b minus c whole square. You have to expand it And we know that formula, that x plus y plus z whole square is equal to x square plus y square plus z square plus 2xy plus 2yz plus 2zx. So in this way you have to expand. So here it is 3a minus 7b minus c. So here x is 3a, y is minus 7b and z is minus c. So putting the value of x as 3a, y as minus 7b and z as minus c in this expression, we get 3a whole square plus minus 7b whole square plus minus c whole square plus 2 into 3a into minus b plus 2 into minus 7b into minus c plus 2 into minus c into 3a. So it will become 3a into 3a, 9a square plus minus 7b into minus 7b, it will become 49b square. Minus c into minus c is equal to plus c square. So plus 2 into 3 into minus 7 will become 3 into 7, 3 into minus 7 minus 21ab plus 2 into minus 7 into minus 7b into minus c will become plus 7bc. And here 2, write down 2 and minus c into 3a is equal to minus 3ac. Now again simplify this. It will become 9a square plus 49b square plus c square minus 42ab plus 14bc minus 6ac is the answer. Okay students. So question number 4 you have solved. Now question number 5. This is the last one of the exercise 2.5. So here I am solving the second question of question number 5, that is 2x square plus y square plus 8z square minus 2 root 2xy plus 4 root 2yz minus 8xz. So you have to bring this expression into x plus y plus z whole square. So now see, you have to factorize like this: 2x square plus y square plus 8z square minus 2 root 2xy plus 4 root 2yz minus 8xz. So from identity 5 we know that this is the expanded form. So you have to bring it in the compact form. So what will be the compact form? We know the formula x plus y plus z whole square is equal to this. So this expression is in this expanded form and you have to bring this expression into this one. So first you find out the value of x, but here you can see that there are some negative terms are given, minus 2 root 2 and here minus 8xz. So from minus 2 root 2 xy and from minus 8xz we can say that this x variable is in negative form. So write down 2x square, that means minus root 2x whole square will become 2x square and y whole square will become y square and 8z square, that means 8 is not a perfect square. You have to break it into rational and irrational numbers like 2 root 2. 2 root 2 z whole square will become 8z square. Okay students. So plus 2 minus root 2x into y plus 2 into y into 2 root 2 2 root 2z plus 2 into 2 root 2z minus root 2x. Like this you have to break it in this form. You have to break this one in this form and then again write down minus root 2x plus y plus 2 root 2z whole square, that is minus root 2x plus y plus 2 root 2z into minus root 2x plus y plus 2 root 2z. Like this you have to write. So now let's start our new chapter, that is probability, exercise 15.1. So before starting the exercise 15.1, you must know what is probability. You have to know it. So what is probability? Probability is the numerical measure of likelihood that a certain outcome of a random experiment will occur. So when we perform experiments like throwing dice or tossing the coins, you just observe their outcomes. Then you will learn to measure the chance of occurrence of a particular outcome in an experiment. Suppose I want a head to come up, and how many times you must note the how many times the head comes up, and then you must note how many times you have tossed the coin. So the probability of head to come up in the event is the fraction of number of times the head comes up by number of times you toss the coin. So here are the points you have to write down in your copy. So probability of the particular event is equal to number of trials in which the event happened by the total number of trials. Next point, probability of an event can be any fraction from 0 to 1. In an experiment, the sum of all probabilities is equal to 1. Suppose probability of event 1 plus probability of event 2 plus probability of event 3 all should be, the sum of all should be equal to 1. The probability of an event which is impossible to occur is 0. So let's start exercise 15.1. In a cricket match, a batswoman hits a boundary 6 times out of 30 balls she plays. Find the probability that she did not hit a boundary. Suppose a batswoman hits a boundary how many times? 6 times. And how many balls she has played? She has played 30 balls. So out of 30 balls she has hit the boundary 6 times. Okay, students. So how many times she did not hit a boundary? So subtract 6 from 30, we will get 24. So 24 times she did not hit a boundary. So you have to write like this. Let E denotes the event that the ball did not hit the boundary. The number of balls which a batswoman plays is equal to 30, and the number of times the ball hit the boundary is equal to 6. Therefore, the number of times the ball did not hit the boundary is equal to 30 minus 6, that is equal to 24. So, the probability of the event is equal to number of times ball did not hit the boundary by total number of balls thrown. So, we know that the number of times the ball did not hit the boundary is 24, and total number of balls she thrown is equal to 30. So, out of 30, 24 times it did not hit the boundary. So, divide 24 by 30 and we get 4 by 5. Okay, students. So, 4 by 5 is the probability of the event that she did not hit the boundary. Next question. Question number 2. So, 1500 families with 2 children were selected randomly and the following data were recorded. Here is the table given to you. Number of girls in a family is recorded 2, 1 and 0. So here number of families, 475 families are having 2 girls, and 814 families are having only 1 girl child, and 211 families are having 0 girl. So compute the probability of a family chosen at random having 2 girls. So what is the probability of a family having 2 girls? So write like this. Let E denotes the event. Write down. Let E denotes the event that family is having 2 girls. The total number of families selected is equal to 1500, and the number of families having 2 girls is equal to 475. So probability of the event is equal to number of families having 2 girls. From the table we know that 475 families are having 2 girls, and total number of families selected we know 1500. So divide 475 by 1500, we get 19 by 60. So dividing 475 and 1500 by 5, we get 19 by 60. So 19 by 60 is the probability of the event that a family having 2 girls. Next part of the question, the probability of a family having 1 girl. So here 814 families are there having 1 girl. So by putting the value let E1 denotes the event that family is having one girl. So probability of the event 1 is equal to number of families having one girl is equal to 814, and number of families selected we know 1500. So 814 will be in the numerator and 1500 will be in the denominator. Now dividing 814 and 1500 by 2, we get 407 by 750. So is equal to, what is the answer? 407 by 750. So probability of the event that the family having one girl is 407 by 750. Next part of the question. Now you have to find out the probability of a family having no girl. So from the table we know that the family is having no girl child is equal to 211. So like this you have to write, let the event E2. Here you have to use some other letter. So I have written E2 is the, because event is different. So for the different event you have to use a different English letter. So is the family is having no girl child. So probability of E2 is equal to number of families having no girl child by total number of families selected. We know that number of families having no girl child is equal to 211 and total number of families selected is 1500. So dividing this, it can't be divisible by any other number, so leave it as it is. So 211 by 1500 is the answer. But here one more question is there. Also check whether the sum of these probabilities is equal to or not, equal to 1 or not. Earlier I have told you all the events of the probabilities, the sum of all the events of the probability must be equal to 1. So let's prove. Therefore the sum of the events, we know that probability of E plus probability of E1 plus probability of E2 is equal to 475 by 1500 plus 814 by 1500 plus 211 by 1500. That will become 1500 by 1500, that is equal to 1. Okay students, so it is proved all the events of the, all the probabilities of the events of the particular experiment. If I add all the probabilities of the events of a particular experiment, it will become 1. So it has been proved. The sum of the probabilities is equal to 1. So next question, question number 4. 3 coins are tossed simultaneously 200 times with the following frequencies of different outcomes. So let's solve. Here the table is given. So 3 heads. If I tossed 3 coins, then sometimes we get 3 heads, sometimes we get 2 heads, sometimes we get 1 head, and sometimes we get no head. So here are the frequencies. So 23 times we get 3 heads, and 72 times we get 2 heads, and 77 times we get 1 head, and 28 times we get no head. So out of 200 times these frequencies are divided like this. So you have to find the probability of 2 heads coming up. So here is the probability. Here you see the how many times you get 2 heads. 72 times we get 2 heads. So like this you have to write down in your copy, let E the event of 2 heads coming up. Total number of trials the 3 coins are tossed is equal to 200 times. So the number of times the 2 heads come up is equal to 72. So probability of the particular event is equal to the number of times the 2 heads come up by total number of trials the 3 coins are tossed, that is equal to 72 times we get 2 heads come up. By 200 times we have tossed the 3 coins simultaneously. Okay students, so now dividing 72 by 200, divide 72 and 200 by 2, we get 9 by 25. So 9 by 25 is the answer. So probability of the event The probability of the event of 2 heads coming up is equal to 9/25. Next question. So question number 5. An organization selected 2,400 families at random and surveyed them to determine a relationship between income level and the number of vehicles in a family. So here is the table, and the range of monthly income is also given. So less than 7,000. The family is having less than 7,000 monthly income. So here the number of vehicles per family given. So here 10 families are there whose salary is monthly income is less than 7,000 and having 0 vehicles. That means no vehicles they are having. 10 families are there, and 160 families are there whose monthly income is less than 7,000 and they are having 1 vehicle. And 25 families are there whose salary is less than 7,000 but they are having 2 vehicles. And there are no families whose monthly income is less than 7,000 having vehicles more than 2, but above 2. That means above 2, more than 2 vehicles they are owning. There are no, that means that type of family is 0. We are getting no families having more than 2 vehicles and their monthly income is less than 7,000. Next range 7,000 to 10,000. So no family is there. No family is there whose monthly income is 7,000 to 10,000 and having no vehicles. So there are 305 families having 1 vehicles, but their salary is monthly income is 7,000 to 10,000. Like this you have to follow the chart. And what the question is asked to you, just see. Suppose a family is chosen, find the probability that the family chosen is earning rupees 10,000 to 13,000 per month and owning exactly 2 vehicles. Okay students, so you have to see this range, 10,000 to 13,000 range monthly income. So what has been asked the question, exactly 2 vehicles. So now see, the family is owning 2 vehicles but their family income is monthly income is 10,000 to 13,000. The number of families is 29. 29 families are there. They are owning 2 vehicles but their monthly income is 10,000 to 13,000. So let's find out how to write. Like this you have to write down in your copy. Let the event that the family earning rupees 10,000 to 13,000 per month and owning exactly 2 vehicles. Total number of families selected at random we know 2,400. It is given in the question. Number of families that earning rupees 10,000 to 13,000 per month and owning 2 vehicles. From the table we get 29. So now probability of event 1 is equal to number of families that earning rupees 10,000 to 13,000 per month and owning 2 vehicles by total number of families selected. So now putting the value 29 and in the denominator put the value 2,400. So it can't be divisible by any other number, so leave it as it is. So this is the answer. This is the probability of the event that the family is earning rupees 10,000 to 13,000 per month and owning exactly 2 vehicles. So next part of the question, earning less than rupees 7,000 per month and does not own any vehicle. So you have to see this range, less than 7,000, does not owning any vehicles, 0 vehicles. The number of families is 10. So number of families is 10. 10 families are there who are owning no vehicles but their monthly income is below 7,000. So number of families does not own any vehicle is equal to 10. So the probability of the event 2 is equal to number of families owning no vehicle by total number of families selected. So we know that number of families owning no vehicle is equal to 10 by, and total number of families is equal to 2400. So like this, divide 10 and 2400 by 10, we get 1 by 240. So next part, owning not more than one vehicle. So what you will do, owning not more than one vehicle, that means you have to add up the number of families owning one vehicles: 160, 305, 535, 469 and 579. You have to add all the number of families given below this 1 and also the number of families given below 0. Okay students, so you have to add these numbers. So let's see. Let E3 the event owning not more than one vehicle. Number of families owning not more than one vehicle is equal to, you have to add all the numbers below 1 and all the numbers below 0. So number of families not owning more than 1 is equal to 2062. So total number of families selected, we know that 2400. So probability of that particular event is equal to 2062 by 2400. Now dividing both the numbers by 2, we get 1031 and 1031 by 1200. So 1031